Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
Hi. Shake Them Ropes episode post show, take two.
Dose.
I deleted the first one accidentally because, as we talked about on Shake Them Ropes a tiny little bit, I rearranged the office. I unplugged everything. Then I plugged it all back in. And for some reason, not everything worked the same as when it was plugged in the first time.
This is why you never change. You stick to your old ways.
I should have I literally just should have stayed how it was because it was working okay. And then I change everything. And like now, like even the audio of the episode yesterday, I'm listening to it back and it's like clipping in places because I don't know why my recorder all of a sudden is recording everything at the highest volume possible.
Okay.
So we'll get it back. We'll get it back. But at least I can put this video up on YouTube now because we beat New Japan Pro Wrestling in their DMCA claim.
Yes.
We can do that. So that's a plus. And of course, if you're watching this video, the camera's in a different angle. Like you see me straight on because I'm using my little Mac camera.
Not even looking at you, looking straight in my camera.
Which you should do. That's what you should do. Okay. Like me, I'm looking not at the camera because like it's not recording from that camera. So I'm not going to be looking down.
Right.
Recording from the side just to give a little view of the whole presentation here.
Fantasy football expert Rob McCarran.
So I had my draft because we're recording this on Wednesday. We recorded the episode on Tuesday. Look at the description for episode 104, I think 103 of Shake Them Ropes, the audio podcast this week. I had my fantasy football draft. I have Peyton Manning as my quarterback.
Okay.
So I should be okay for the first half of the season. I'll need to find someone for the playoffs. I have Frank Gore and Le'Veon Bell.
Okay.
And I picked up D'Angelo Williams with my last pick to work the first 2 weeks since Le'Veon Bell is suspended.
Right.
And then this is how much I care about fantasy football right now. I don't know anyone else on my team. Like those are the three I remember. I think I picked up T.Y. Hilton. I think I have T.Y. Hilton, I think.
Okay. You know what that means? You're going to win your league.
Devontae.
The person who cares the least about fantasy football is the one who wins the league. It always happens that way.
Yeah. Devontae Adams, Devontae Parker, whichever one is the Miami Dolphin.
Okay.
Because I'm going to be a big Miami Doll fan this year.
Eesh.
I'm all in. I'm all in on the Dolphins.
Enjoy that.
All right. Okay. So one of the things, we had a question come up on Twitter. We didn't get to it on the show because we're running late. Okay. We had a Twitter question asking, with the Dudleys being back in the tag team division, does that hinder the possibility of Enzo and Big Cass coming up to the main roster? Does it steal their thunder in a way? And we replied on Twitter, or at least I replied on Twitter, just with a quick answer. But I guess I don't see how the Dudley Boys versus any other team would exactly hinder Enzo and Big Cass. They're not the same act by any means. I think Enzo and Big Cass are just going to be NXT guys for a while because that's a draw in NXT.
Yeah, that's what I said on Twitter as well. I said the monster pop more than anything doomed them to stay in NXT because now they're seen as marketable and they need marketable talent. Come out and see Cass and sing along with Enzo.
Right.
Yeah.
I have played 2 King of the Rings in WWE Supercard. I've won both of them.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I've won both King of the Rings. Got myself some super rare cards. My ace is a little Dean Ambrose card. Oh yeah. Super card. Right back at you. We got an email that I think I want to save for the Shake Them Ropes audio podcast next week.
Why?
Because we talked about Supercard on the podcast.
Oh, so someone wrote to you about
Someone wrote to me trying to get me off of this heroin kick. Basically, get me off of it early, but we'll read that question.
Interventions are good.
If you out there are playing WWE Supercard, as we talked about on the podcast, I just started playing it. I wanted to see what all the hubbub was about, and now I can't stop. Like, I'm thinking of buying more iPads just so I can play multiple times, at the same time. Like, get them all going.
It's like the online poker craze for you.
Yeah. I mean, if you can tell, I am very unkempt. I haven't slept in 3 days. Because I really need to combine my 2 rare Naomi cards. Sweating a little bit. Oh boy. You were, before we started recording, and I didn't want you to continue because I don't know what you're exactly referring to. You were talking about the WWE 6.
Yeah, the ones that are rumored to be going, the Rich Swann.
Oh yeah, Rich Swann, Biff
Tommaso
Busick, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, me.
Chuck Taylor.
Chuck Taylor is rumored to go.
Who's the other one?
Chuck Taylor is an interesting one because he's been doing the retirement tour, and a lot of people think it's just because he's giving up wrestling, but it very well could be that he's retiring the Chuck Taylor because he's going to WWE. And he's got to tie in with Evolve, even though he really hasn't been around much lately. I mean, he's still working Shikara. He lives in Philadelphia. He hasn't done anything with NXT, so I don't really see the tie-in there. I mean,
Chuck Taylor, rumored interest more than anything.
Chuck Taylor, I think, is more of a rumor than it is actually something that's going on. Rich Swann and Biff Busick are something that's going on. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa are something that's going on.
There's the other one, Gulak.
Drew Gulak could have a tie-in there, yeah. But the four that are going on right now are Rich Swann, Biff Busick, Tommaso Ciampa, and Johnny Gargano. Those are the four that are currently going on. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa win a match in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. They win. They're not doing that for just anyone. When Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards came in, they lost their match. Lost bad. Davey Richards was dropped on his head by Connor. Killed dead. You don't see him around anymore. Davey Richards, I think, is out of wrestling. Stop it, TNA guys. I know he's not out of wrestling.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Interesting picks, I think.
Interesting. What about this one? Ring of Honor announced. I was following casually on the Twitter, my Twitter feed yesterday, and Ring of Honor announced Richards versus Lethal for a show in Buffalo.
And you thought,
and I'm like, there's no way Davey Richards is coming back, but I guess without TNA and anything, maybe a one-time only type thing. And, you know, people corrected me. Like, I asked if it was Davey Richards because I didn't quite believe it. And maybe it could have been someone else that I wasn't aware of. So I asked on Twitter simply, Davey Richards, ? And I got a bombardment of people telling me that it was in fact Steven Richards of WCW, ECW, and WWE fame. 3PW, Power Pro Pain Wrestling or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you remember 3PW? You ever follow the indies back in the early 2000s?
Vaguely remember it.
Yeah, they ran the ECW arena when ECW was done. It was Blue Meanie's group. Power Pain. I think it was Power Pain Pro Wrestling, 3PW.
Sounds right.
And their main stars were like Sabu and Sandman and Raven.
Sabu and Sandman were always the linchpins of any ECW
spin-off. Sabu sometimes still is.
Yeah.
It's insanity.
I saw you get punched in the balls by Chuck Taylor today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Was it the Joey Ryan match?
Yeah, it was the Joey Ryan match.
Where did you see that from?
I was watching the Best of Chuck Taylor.
Was it on the Best of Chuck Taylor? Yeah. I have a video of me getting beat up in IWA Mid-South. Like, it's a 2-minute video. Me getting clotheslined by CJ Otis in a match with Drake Younger.
I couldn't remember your referee name.
Travis Young.
Wow, that's a generic name. You think at least the NXT names are memorable.
Tommy Young wasn't a generic name?
Oh, well, Tommy Young was a
icon.
Was an icon in this business, Rob McCarran.
And I'm his son, Travis Young. I was Tommy Young.
Awesome.
I was Tommy Young's son.
You know what? That's awesome.
Yeah. He had me late in life. But so I got punched in that match was a daytime match. It was on during a show that IWA ran in Midlothian, Illinois, before a Ring of Honor show that night.
Okay.
So I was doing Chuck Taylor versus Joey Ryan. Joey Ryan was still in his creepy man phase. They were both in the same phase, actually. They both had the exact same gimmick. So they were punching each other in the balls. I laughed at them, and they eye-raked me and punched me in the nuts. No, they eye-raked me. Chuck Taylor probably has punched me in the balls like 3 or 4 times, honestly, because there's a couple of matches there.
I was going to ask if I had a chance to talk to Chuck, if I could name drop you.
I don't know, man. A lot of these guys, he's one of the guys I haven't kept in contact with.
Right.
I only would really talk to him barely in IWA shows, so I don't know if he would remember me, honestly.
All right.
Like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Who would remember you? Just for my Rolodex.
Huh? There are people. There are people. Chuck was an interesting one just because he was kind of quiet in the locker rooms. And I was super quiet. Like, you know, if you told him, hey, do you remember the skinny ref who was no good in IWA in the mid 2000s? If you said Travis Young, I think he would remember who I was. And he would say the same thing. I was pretty quiet in the locker rooms. There were a couple of people I talked to, mostly the Michigan guys, because the Michigan guys I had seen on shows beforehand, like the Jimmy Jacobs and the Jack Thrillers and the, you know, a lot of them who aren't in wrestling anymore. But, you know, Jimmy Jacobs, there's one.
Have you gotten any emails about the podcast yet?
I got a DM I haven't even told you about.
Oh, no.
A DM I haven't even told you about. I've told no one about this except briefly mentioning it in the Slack chat. Ew. But what are you going to do?
Is someone mad at me?
No, it was actually a good DM.
Oh, okay.
It's a current WWE wrestler who has followed us on Twitter.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And he DM'd after he followed on Twitter.
Nice.
It was cool stuff. But yeah, I don't think most people of any regard in like that actually work for WWE. I know of one or two, but I don't know if we're on their radar yet.
Oh, no. I didn't mean that. I just meant, you know, your usual.
We got a comment from someone who said, "Voices of Wrestling, you guys are the worst."
Yeah. Well,
apparently we were too negative on Bolo, which is crazy because we loved 22 of the 24 people in the ring, and said that even the guys we don't particularly are greatly fond of, we still enjoyed matches of theirs.
Well, it's funny because you were telling me don't address everybody, don't address them. I wasn't going to about the guy that I may or may not care for. It was the guy that I just said, literally, I said, I love this guy. And he said he hated him. And I'm like, no, I love Speedball Mike Bailey. I will watch 100 Speedball Mike Bailey matches before someone else.
God, I don't know if I could do that. If you forced me to watch 100 Speedball Mike Bailey matches, I think I would have to start doing speed just to get through it.
Well, you know what? That would help you with your card game.